What if I told you nothing, nothing at all is truly impossible? I mean, really think about that. What would you go after if you actually believed it? You might be sitting there right now on your phone, in your car, walking to work, and some part of you has been wondering the same thing your whole life. Is this it? Is this all I'm meant for? Maybe you feel stuck. Maybe you've tried before. Maybe you failed. Or maybe you just haven't started. And I get it. People don't often think of me as someone who's failed. But the truth is, I've failed more than most people know. I've slept on factory floors. I've been laughed at by investors. I've had rockets explode right in front of my eyes. People said PayPal was stupid, that Tesla would never work, that going to Mars is a fantasy. But here's the difference. I didn't stop when it got hard. I didn't stop when it got embarrassing. I didn't stop when it looked like I'd lose everything. So if you're listening right now, and I don't care if you're 16 or 60, I want you to hear me say this. You can achieve anything. If you're willing to go where most people won't and think how most people don't, and tonight we're going to talk about how. We're going to break it all down step by step. I'm going to share what actually works, not believe in yourself garbage, real mental frameworks, real habits, real things you can do that will actually change your life. So whether you live in Texas or Tasmania, London, or Los Angeles, or you're in your 40s with kids, or just a teenager trying to figure out life, I want you to lean in tonight, because by the end of this, you won't just hope you can do something great, you'll know exactly how to start. And that's where it all begins. Let me tell you something that might sting a little. Most people never achieve anything meaningful in life, not because they're lazy, not because they're not smart, not because they don't want it, but because they're addicted to comfort. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. You want to know why so many dreams die quietly? Because most people would rather scroll for hours than sit in silence and confront what they really want. They would rather be busy than focused. They'd rather be liked than disruptive. And they'd rather feel safe than feel alive. And look, I've been there. I know what it feels like to be scared. I was bullied as a kid. I spent a lot of time alone reading books. I felt like an outsider. But the pain of staying average eventually became worse than the fear of trying. So I made a decision, and this is where it all changes. You have to choose comfort or change, but not both. Now, think about this. Every time you delay that thing you said you'd start, every time you wait for the perfect moment, every time you say, maybe next year, you're training your brain to stay in the cage. And this is how you flip the switch. 1. Get painfully honest. What are you avoiding right now? What dream have you convinced yourself is too late or too big? Write it down. Seriously. Pause this, open your notes app, and write it. That's how this becomes real. 2. Kill the myth of motivation. Waiting to feel motivated is like waiting for perfect weather to launch a rocket. You don't wait, you calculate, you plan, and you launch anyway. Discipline is greater than motivation. Every time. 3. Shrink the target. People think big success comes from big action, but it's the opposite. Start so small, it's almost impossible to fail. Want to write a book? Write 100 words today. Want to get in shape? Walk around the block. Want to start a business? Sketch your idea on paper. What matters is momentum. 4. Turn failure into fuel. You know what made me keep going after 3 SpaceX rockets exploded? I had to remind myself, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. The only real failure is quitting. And the sooner you get comfortable with looking stupid, with being a beginner, with not knowing, the faster you'll grow. And here's something else. No one tells you success is not this big, dramatic moment. It's a quiet accumulation of daily courage. It's that decision to keep going when no one's watching. To get up when it's easier to stay down, to risk embarrassment, to risk failure, to believe in something even when nobody else does. So let me ask you right now, what would your life look like in 6 months if you stopped choosing comfort? It's a question worth answering, because the moment you get honest about that, the moment you own it, you start becoming the kind of person who can achieve anything. Let's get into something powerful now. People ask me all the time, Elon, what's the mindset that separates people who actually make things happen from the ones who just talk? And honestly, it's not IQ, it's not funding, it's not connections. It comes down to mental habits, invisible patterns of thinking that control your entire trajectory, and most people don't even know they're running on autopilot. I'm going to give you 3 of the most important ones that changed everything for me. And I mean everything. Mental habit number 1, assume you're wrong, then try anyway. Most people try to be right all the time. They're obsessed with looking smart. They're afraid to be wrong. But here's what I've learned. If you can be wrong fast, you can learn fast. And if you learn fast, you win. At Tesla, we've redesigned the same part of a car 5 times in a single week. Why? Because perfection isn't the goal, progress is. So instead of saying, I hope this works, I say, let's try it and see what breaks. What if you adopted that in your life? What if you launched that idea without knowing everything? What if you asked that question you've been too afraid to ask? You'd grow 10 times faster than most people. Mental habit number 2, zoom out, then zoom way in. Big thinkers do this constantly. It's like breathing. They zoom out to see the whole picture. What's the mission? Why am I doing this? What's the actual outcome I want in 10 years? Then they zoom way in. What's the one thing I can do today that pushes this forward? Every day, I ask myself, what's the highest leverage action I can take right now? Not 10 things, just one. It might be a call. It might be solving a tiny design problem. It might be not giving up when something just broke down again. But I make that one thing count. Mental habit number 3, run toward problems. Most people run away from hard things. You know the feeling, you see a challenge, and your brain immediately goes, too hard, not now, maybe later. But what if you flip that? Every big win in my life came from running straight toward the hard thing. The PayPal merger, chaos. The Falcon 1 rocket blew up 3 times. Tesla's early years, nearly bankrupt. But I ran toward it, I studied it, I owned it. I didn't say, why me? I said, let's figure this out. And look, I'm not saying this to sound impressive. I'm telling you this because you don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent. You need to face the thing everyone else avoids. Let me ask you something real. What challenge have you been running from? Is it a conversation, a skill, a risk? What if you ran toward it instead of away from it? That's where growth lives. That's where the life you want actually starts. You're not far, you're not behind, you're not too old, you're not too late. You're just one decision away from building a completely different trajectory. And that begins now. There's a toxic myth out there, and it stops more people than fear, failure, or even money. Here it is. I'm just not talented enough. Have you ever said that to yourself? Maybe you look at successful people and think, they're just built different. I wasn't born with that skill. I'm not wired that way. Let me break that myth right now. Do you know how much programming I knew when I started building Zip2? Almost none. Do you know how many car factories I'd built before Tesla? 0. Do you know how much I understood about aerospace when I started SpaceX? Almost nothing. I literally read textbooks and called up rocket engineers. I asked questions. I stayed up all night learning. That's not talent. That's relentlessness. The world doesn't reward the most gifted. It rewards the most obsessed. That guy who beats you in skill, if you outwork him for the next 2 years, you'll pass him. The girl who's smarter than you, if you show up longer and stay with it when she quits, you'll surpass her every time. Here's the truth. Talent gives you a head start, but relentlessness wins the race. People with talent stop when it gets hard. People with obsession don't even notice the pain anymore. And here's what no one wants to say out loud. You will not rise to the level of your goals. You will fall to the level of your standards. And if your standards say, I only try when it's easy, I only work when I feel like it, I stop when it gets uncomfortable, then it doesn't matter how smart or talented you are, you'll lose to the person who refuses to quit. Let me ask you something real. When was the last time you gave something everything you had, without excuses, without distractions, without plan B? Because that's where magic happens. That's where talent becomes irrelevant. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to be born lucky. You don't even have to believe in yourself 100%. You just have to keep showing up when most people quit. And that's a choice. So if you're listening to this in your 50s and you think it's too late, it's not. If you're 18 and you think you're not good enough, you are. If you're rebuilding after divorce, debt, loss, burnout, I'm telling you, you can achieve anything in life if you stop outsourcing your potential to talent and start living like someone who refuses to settle. And the moment you do that, the world changes because you've changed. Let me ask you something simple but important. Is your life designed to support your success or sabotage it? Not your intentions, not your dreams, not your vision board. I'm asking, is the way you live every day built to pull you toward your goals or slowly push you away from them without you noticing? Because most people don't fail because they're weak. They fail because they've built a life that automatically distracts, delays, and depletes them, and then they blame themselves instead of redesigning the system. Let me explain. People think I work 120 hours a week because I'm addicted to work, but that's not it. I work that hard because I designed my environment to make deep focus normal. I don't leave success to willpower. I engineer it through systems. Here's what I mean. 1, I eliminate noise. I don't do useless meetings. I don't chase shiny objects. If it doesn't push the mission forward, I cut it. 2, I weaponize my calendar. Most people use their calendar to remember things. I use mine to force action. If it's not scheduled, it doesn't exist. 3, I remove friction to the right things. Want to work out? Put your gym shoes where you'll trip over them. Want to build a business? Block off 3 hours a day for focused work, no phone, no social, no distractions. Because here's the reality. Your habits will beat your motivation every single time, and your environment will beat your habits if you don't control it. So if you want to achieve anything in life, you need to build a life that leaves no other option but growth. Let me get practical with you. Ask yourself, is my home space designed to energize or drain me? Do I start my day on purpose or by accident? Do I schedule time for what matters or just react all day? You don't need a bigger dream. You need fewer distractions and stronger systems. I'm telling you right now, design a boring environment that makes greatness automatic. Success isn't sexy. It's often boring. It's repeating the right actions long enough to compound into something massive. And here's something I've never said publicly before. When I feel overwhelmed, when SpaceX is behind schedule, or Tesla's getting media heat, or Neuralink has a breakthrough that could collapse, I don't react emotionally. I zoom out. I ask, what's the mission? Then I ask, what's one controllable action I can take today? That recenters me every single time. Because when your environment, your systems, and your mindset are aligned, failure becomes improbable. So if you're listening right now and thinking, I don't feel motivated anymore, don't chase motivation. Build a life that makes progress inevitable. That's how you win. Let me tell you something most people don't realize. Every great transformation begins with just one moment. One decision. Not a million goals, not a 10-year vision, not a fancy planner. Just one choice. One moment where you finally say, I'm done. I'm done playing small. I'm done lying to myself. I'm done making excuses for why my life doesn't look like the one I know I'm capable of living. And it doesn't matter if you're 19 or 79. It doesn't matter if you failed 10 times or if you're still afraid to start. All it takes is one decision that you never take back. I remember when SpaceX's third rocket exploded, we had no money left. People called us a joke. Even my closest advisors said, shut it down. But I made a decision that day. I said, we will launch again. We will not give up, even if I have to fund it myself. And we did. That fourth launch, it worked. That one decision saved SpaceX. And it changed space history forever. Here's what I want you to get. You don't need perfect confidence. You just need a line you refuse to cross again. That's how you break patterns. People say they want change, but then they leave the door open to their old life. They say they're done procrastinating, but keep the apps. They say they're done dating toxic people, but keep replying to the messages. They say they're done settling, but keep saying yes to things that drain them. Let me be brutally honest. You will never change your life until you change what you accept. So here's my challenge to you right now, today. What's one standard you will never lower again? Think about that for a moment. What's one part of your old life that ends now? Is it staying quiet when you should speak up? Is it settling for a job you hate? Is it blaming your past for your present? Make the decision. Make it once and never look back. You want to achieve anything in life? Then make one decision right now that draws a line in the sand. Not a maybe, not a someday, a now. And don't wait for it to feel good, because the best decisions feel scary. That's how you know they matter. You don't need a new year. You need a new standard, because the second you raise your standard, you raise your life. Let me tell you the truth about transformation, the kind of change that really sticks, the kind that turns your life around. The hardest battle isn't out there, it's in here. It's between who you are right now and who you know you could become. And that battle, it doesn't happen once. It happens every day. We all feel it. That internal resistance that says, you're too late. Who do you think you are? Don't bother. You always quit anyway. You know that voice. It shows up the second you try to change. The second you start moving towards something greater. It shows up disguised as logic, as fatigue, as distraction. And if you don't learn how to fight it, it wins. Let me share something personal. There were days early in SpaceX where I'd walk into the hangar and feel this overwhelming wave of fear. Fear that I was insane, fear that I was dragging hundreds of people into a vision that would collapse. And in those moments, I didn't feel like the guy people think I am. I felt small, exposed, unqualified, but I kept going. Not because I felt powerful, because I chose not to surrender to that voice. The resistance inside you is not your enemy, it's a compass. It only screams when you're getting closer to something real. That's why the closer you get to your potential, the louder the resistance becomes. So here's the shift I made. Instead of running from that tension, I started leaning into it, because resistance is a sign you're on the right path. No one feels resistance sitting on the couch. No one feels resistance scrolling TikTok for 3 hours. You feel it when you write the first page of your book. You feel it when you apply for the job you don't think you deserve. You feel it when you wake up early to build the life no one sees yet. That's not weakness, that's growth in real time. So what do you do when that internal war starts? 3 things. 1, name the voice. Literally give it a name. Fear, doubt, the critic. Because once you name it, you can separate from it. It's not you. It's a part of you trying to protect you from the unknown. 2, interrupt the pattern. Stand up. Walk outside. Do push-ups. Say out loud, not today. Rewire your brain in that moment by moving your body and changing your language. 3, take 1 action. 1, email the client, write the paragraph, record the video. Resistance hates action. You want to become who you were born to be? You have to get good at fighting the war no one sees you fight. Because when you win in here, everything out there becomes possible. So if you're sitting in your room right now, alone, tired, thinking you're not strong enough, I want to tell you something I've learned building rockets, cars, and AI. The battle you're fighting inside you is not proof that you're broken. It's proof that you're alive and you're evolving. Keep going, even if your hands shake, even if your voice trembles, even if no one believes in you yet, because the future you is waiting. And that version of you, it's worth the fight. Let me ask you something real. What's the most painful thing you've ever been through? You don't have to say it out loud, but you feel it right now as I say it. Maybe it was a betrayal, maybe it was a moment where you thought it was over. Maybe it was being told you're not good enough, and part of you believed it. Now, let me tell you something. Very few people will, that pain you felt, that was power just not yet harnessed. People always ask me, Elon, how do you stay motivated when everything's falling apart? What they're really asking is, how do you keep going when it hurts like hell? And here's the answer no one expects. I don't avoid pain, I use it. Pain has always been part of my journey. I've lost friendships, I've been ridiculed on live television. I've been on the edge of bankruptcy more than once, and I've sat in silence with pain so deep it almost made me walk away from everything, but I didn't. Because I realized something, pain is a lever, most people collapse under it, but if you shift your grip, you can use it to lift. Let me be clear, pain is not the enemy, it's not something to get over, it's something to go through and extract the message from it. Because pain always has a message. Sometimes it's telling you what matters. Sometimes it's telling you where you've been holding back. Sometimes it's forcing you to wake up. Here's what I've learned, and I want you to write this down or remember it if you're listening in your car. The most powerful people you'll ever meet are the ones who've turned their pain into purpose. Oprah was abused and abandoned. Now she inspires millions. Nelson Mandela lost 27 years to a prison cell, but walked out stronger and forgave. I've been humiliated, exhausted, ridiculed, and I built Tesla and SpaceX through that fire. So here's a hard but freeing truth. If life has hurt you, you're not weak. You're ready. Ready to stop surviving. Ready to use what hurt you to build what heals others. Ready to become someone who's not just successful, but unshakable. Ask yourself right now, what pain have I been running from? What could that pain teach me? How can I use it instead of hiding it? Because once you stop avoiding pain and start learning from it, you become unstoppable. I know some of you listening right now are in pain, not a motivational kind, a quiet, invisible kind. So hear me, you are not broken, you are becoming. This pain is not your end, it's your ignition point. Use it, channel it, let it refine you, not define you. That's how you achieve anything. Not by avoiding the fire, but walking through it and owning what you bring out of the ashes. Let me tell you something that'll save you years. Motivation is unreliable. It's a lie that sells well on Instagram, but it doesn't build real results. People say to me, Elon, how do you stay motivated? They're shocked when I say, I don't wait for motivation. I rely on systems. I rely on momentum. Motivation is a feeling. It comes and goes. It's a wave. And if you only pedal when the wave is high, you'll never reach the shore. What you need is discipline by design. And that's a system. Let me explain. Back in the early Tesla days, I was sleeping on the factory floor, not because I wanted to hustle for the gram, but because there was no other option. We were on the brink of collapse. We couldn't even afford a bed for everyone. I wasn't motivated. I was exhausted. But we had a system. Every day we showed up, even if it was 2 a.m., even if we failed the day before. Here's what relentless action looks like in real life. 1, create a non-negotiable minimum. One thing you'll do every single day, no matter what. Not 10 things, just one. 10 push-ups, 15 minutes of writing. One business call. It's not about size. It's about the signal you send to your brain. I'm someone who acts regardless of how I feel. That's power. 2, use the 5-minute rule. When you don't want to do something, commit to just 5 minutes. 5 minutes of planning your day, researching your idea, cleaning your space, building a website. What happens? Momentum takes over. Motivation doesn't start action. Action starts motivation. 3, track what you do, not what you plan. I see so many people get stuck in perfection. They plan, journal, dream, but they don't execute. Stop measuring success by how good your idea is. Start measuring it by how consistent your actions are, even if it's messy, even if it's small, because momentum compounds. One brick at a time. That's how Tesla was built. I want you to remember this phrase and burn it into your habits. Start ugly, stay consistent, finish legendary. Most people never get past start ugly, but the ones who do, they build what others only dream about. Let's bring it down to earth. Whether you're 19 or 71, whether you're starting a business, getting in shape, or rebuilding your life after losing everything, relentless action is your key. Not perfect action, not public action, relentless. That means you keep going when it's boring, when it's quiet, when no one claps, when it doesn't look like it's working, because that's where most people quit. But you're not most people. You're still here, still listening, still showing up, and that tells me something about you. You're not looking for a dopamine hit. You're looking for a result. So if you're tired of starting over, stop quitting. If you're tired of feeling stuck, start moving. Not fast, not flashy, just forward. One real action today, one real action tomorrow. You do that long enough, and you'll be unstoppable. Let me ask you a serious question. When was the last time you actually designed your life? Not dreamed, not hoped, but sat down and engineered your future like a product, like something worth building. Most people don't. They live life reactively. Wake up, survive the day, sleep, repeat. But if you want to achieve anything meaningful, anything real, you need to start thinking like a designer. Because here's the truth. If you don't design your life, someone else will. And guess what they'll design it for? Their profit, their dreams, their convenience. I treat my life the same way I build rockets, with design specs, with timelines, with systems, and most importantly, with a clear vision of what the end result should look like. Let me break this down into something you can apply today. 1, create a vision that's specific, not vague. Bad goal, I want to be successful. Good goal, I want to build a mobile app that helps seniors stay mentally sharp by 2026 while generating $10,000 a month in recurring revenue. Bad goal, I want to be happier. Good goal, I want to wake up in a house near the coast, work 4 hours a day, and feel healthy and energized with time for my kids. Vague dreams produce vague results. Specific vision, that becomes a blueprint. 2, break it into phases. Every rocket launch has phases. Design, prototype, testing, iteration, launch. Your life should too. Here's what that looks like. Phase 1, learn the basics. Read, watch, practice. Phase 2, test the idea. Small projects, small risks. Phase 3, scale. Put money, time, and sweat into it. Phase 4, iterate and refine. Phase 5, launch your full transformation. Most people try to go from 0 to launch, and that's why they crash. Life mastery is not an event, it's a system. 3, design days that lead to that vision. Let me show you a mind shift. If your ideal life is waking up energized, being fit, running your business remotely, and traveling once a month, but you wake up at 11 a.m., eat junk, complain about your job, and scroll TikTok for hours, you're not on the path. Your daily routine has to match your future. So ask yourself every morning, is today a vote for the life I say I want? And if the answer is no, redesign the day. Not next year, tomorrow. You wouldn't build a rocket without a flight plan. Why build your life without one? You deserve better than a random existence. You deserve a future that was designed with intention. And the best part, you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take ownership, even if you're 17 or 47 or 77. There is no age limit to taking back control. There's only a choice, design or drift. Here's an action step. Take 30 minutes tonight, write out your ideal day in brutal, vivid detail. What time do you wake up? What's the first thing you see? Who are you around? What are you working on? And then start aligning your real days with that map. Even if it's just by 5%, even if it's one change a week, your map becomes your mission, and your mission becomes your momentum. That's how you build a life that pulls you out of bed, a life that doesn't need alarm, clocks, or validation, just clarity. Let's talk about the stuff no one wants to admit, because what kills dreams isn't always failure. It's the invisible things, the silent destroyers, the little habits and beliefs that seem harmless but keep you stuck for years. You want to achieve something big, you need to learn how to spot your real enemies. And no, they're not outside of you. They're inside. Enemy number one, I'll start tomorrow. This is the dream killer, the great deceiver. It sounds responsible, it sounds logical. But here's the truth. I'll start tomorrow is a lie dressed in polite clothes. It's procrastination, camouflaged. I used to do this with SpaceX. I think maybe we're not ready yet. But then I realized you're never ready. You get ready by starting. Enemy number two, what will people think? This one, man, it's brutal. You have an idea, a goal, a desire, and then someone says one sarcastic comment, you start a company? Aren't you a little old for that? That sounds risky, and you abandon the whole thing. Listen, if I listened to public opinion, Tesla would not exist. SpaceX would have collapsed after the third failed launch. You must understand this. Most people's opinions are projections of their own fear. They aren't judging you, they're judging their own limits. So stop asking people for directions to places they've never been. Enemy number three, comfort addiction. Yeah, this is a silent assassin. You say you want greatness, but your habits scream comfort. You want wealth, but binge Netflix nightly. You want confidence, but never challenge yourself. You want health, but keep hitting snooze. You cannot build an extraordinary life from a place of comfort. Now, I'm not saying burn yourself out. I'm saying build a relationship with discomfort. Learn to dance in the stretch zone. It's where all the growth is. You know why most people don't achieve big things? Because big things require temporary discomfort, and most people are addicted to avoiding it. But not you, not after this. You know now, discomfort is the tuition you pay for real achievement. Enemy number four, isolation. Here's one people overlook, trying to do everything alone. You don't need 1,000 people in your corner. You need 2 or 3 who actually believe in your mission. People who challenge you, call out your laziness, celebrate your wins. If you're the smartest person in your circle, you're not in a circle, you're in a cage. Build your network like your dreams depend on it, because they do. Enemy number 5, self-doubt. This is the voice that whispers, you're not smart enough. You always mess it up. Who are you to think you can do this? Let me say this as clearly as I can. Self-doubt is a liar. It shows up the strongest right before a breakthrough. You need to train your inner voice, not silence it, not fight it, train it. Turn it into a coach instead of a critic. If you don't kill these invisible enemies, they will kill your momentum. They will suffocate your potential. They will make you exist instead of live. But now you can see them. Now you can name them. And when you name them, you can beat them. That's how change begins. With awareness, with courage, with decision. And now that you know, you've got a choice to make. So here's a challenge. Pick one invisible enemy that's been holding you back and destroy it this week. Say no to comfort. Silence the doubters. Show up before you feel ready. Make it visible, then make it vanish. You do that once, you'll never go back to who you used to be. All right, let's wrap this up, because if you've made it this far and you're still listening, then something has shifted in you. You've learned something, but more importantly, you've decided. And that decision, it changes everything. I want you to think about something. When you're at the top of your game, looking back at where you started, what will you remember? The dream, the journey, or the doubts, the pain, the sacrifices, or the moments when you pushed past your limits. The truth is, the journey never gets easier, but it does get better and more meaningful. You see, the act of achieving anything in life isn't just about getting the thing. It's about becoming the person who can achieve it. The final gear, resilience and perseverance. The hardest thing I've ever had to do, it wasn't launching the first Falcon. It wasn't Tesla's first Roadster. It was getting back up after failure. When we were days away from bankruptcy at Tesla, and I didn't know how to pay the bills or make payroll, I didn't stop. When SpaceX exploded on live television and I was told it was over, I didn't stop. Why? Because there's no final destination. There's only the next step, and the next, and the next. You're not meant to stop. People often ask me, how do you keep going when you've achieved so much? Simple. There's no finish line. You think I'm done? I'm just getting started. Your life is the same. The moment you stop, you start shrinking. So keep moving, keep creating, keep questioning. Life rewards the relentless, not the lucky, not the smart, but the ones who never give up. One last lesson, your life, your responsibility. If you take nothing else from this, remember this. You are the architect of your own future. It's not the economy. It's not your family background. It's not your age. It's your decisions. You decide what your life will look like. You decide who you'll become. So take ownership of your story. Take responsibility for every success, every failure, every mistake. When you do that, you're unstoppable. Here's what I want you to do now. 1. Pick one area of your life where you want to make a massive change. Start small. Focus on one thing. Take that first action today. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start now. 2. Ask yourself, what's the hardest thing I could do to move forward? Do that thing. Don't just think about it. 3. Commit to never quitting. It's the most important thing you can do. No